Have you been to Mount Rushmore? 60-foot tall faces of George Washington, Thomas Jefferson Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln are carved into Mount Rushmore's stone hills. When sculptor Gutzon Borglum, who has about the best name I've ever heard, first saw Mount Rushmore, he said, "America will march along that skyline." Borglum begun work in 1927, but he died before the work was finished. The work was complete by his son, Lincoln, on October 31st, 1941. Davina?
After Mount Rushmore, change the period to question mark.
Yes. Have you been to Mount Rushmore is a question. Omar?
The work was completed.
The work was completed, past tense, yep. Jerry?
Should be a comma after Thomas Jefferson.
You're not Jerry, you're Airy. That's close though. That's close, though. There should be a comma after what?
Thomas Jefferson.
Yes. Airy? Borglum began work, yes. Begun is what's called a past participle. It can only be used with an auxiliary verb. So you can say have begun or had begun, but you can't say he begun. Gavinator?
After he said, there's supposed to be quotation marks at the beginning.
He said, open quotes, America will march. Yep. T-Bone?
Mount Rushmore is Mount needs to be uppercase. That sculptor, Gutzon, whatever.
Yes. Yeah. You ever come across the first name Gutzon before? Gutzon? I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it. No? No, me neither. It's a beauty though, isn't it? Kind of wish I'd named my son Gutzon. It's bitchin'. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Davina?
After 1927, there should be a comma.
After 1927, there should be a comma. You don't sound convinced of that.
Yeah, because there's a but, which is a something that you're supposed to have a comma before.
Sometimes. So there is a but, and but is a something. Something is called a conjunction in this case. Before the conjunction, you sometimes need a comma. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky and a little bit finicky, but if you can master this rule, you are high level. Like, high level. Above most of your teachers, I would suggest. So here's the rule. When you have a conjunction, but or and, not the only ones, but the most common ones, you have, well, let's back up here. Your basic sentence structure is a subject and a verb, right? A thing that does something and the thing it does. Right? So every sentence has that, subject and verb. That's your very basic sort of sentence structure. So when you have a conjunction, if on the other side of the conjunction you also have a new subject and a new verb, then you need a comma there. Because you've taken two complete sentences, joined them with a conjunction. So that's why you need a comma, right? Because you could say, he died before the work was finished, all by itself. It's a full sentence, it's a full idea, right? This could be, if you took out but, you could put a period here, capital H. It would be just fine. So the trick, however, is that he is actually the same subject. In this case, it's not always, but he is the same subject as Borglum. He's the same person. But because we've stated he again, we need the comma there. If, I'm going to change colors here. If I take the word he out, this marker's about dead. I'm going to try to sauce it into my bucket there. Fail. All right, if we take the word he out, the sentence means the same thing. We're agreed on that. Borglum began work in 1927 but died before the work was finished. We could say that, it would make sense, right? So if we do that, we have to take this comma back out again because we have one subject determining two verbs, governing two verbs, began and died. So to illustrate this a little bit more clearly in a shorter sentence, I walked and talked. Full sentence, I is the subject, two verbs, walked and talked, no comma before the conjunction. However, I walked and he talked. Now I need a comma. I'm going to do a different color. Now I need a comma before and because I have a new subject, new verb. I'm waiting for the look on Omar's face that shows me that this makes sense to him. Yeah? All right. Jer Bear, you got this? Okay. You guys are high level now. Welcome. Welcome to the club. We can have elite conversations now. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3 more. T-Bone?
Something with the 60-foot tall. Is there supposed to be that many dashes? I'm not sure.
There is supposed to be that many dashes, but I really wanted somebody to ask about that. The reason 60-foot tall is all hyphenated together is that it's one term, one adjective describing the noun faces. And if we separate those, if we unhyphenate them, then it is possible to become confused over how many faces there are and how tall they are. So the word foot is a noun, right? That's this thing. So if I don't hyphenate 60 foot tall, then I have 60 feet all of a sudden. That's weird. And tall faces. Or I have 60 1-foot tall faces, or I don't know. I don't know what it means. You follow me? So in order for this to be taken as one term describing the noun faces, we hyphenate it together. And adjectives can work this way. We can hyphenate together. This is why we see something like, 1-year-old. 1-year-old is hyphenated together. You have a 1-year-old child because it's one term, but the baby is 1 years, plural, old, without hyphens. Because now this isn't an adjective. The years is a noun, 1 is the adjective describing how many. Because it's the object of is 1 years old. So, complicated, we will get more practice and become more accustomed to being able to hyphenate things together. Some of my favorite methods of creative writing are hyphenating words together to create new adjectives, which you can do. And this is an area where you have some creative freedom. So we can say that, I'm just looking around at you guys for a good example. So T-Bone is a Tim Hortons phone case girl. And you could say Tim Hortons hyphenated, phone case hyphenated, you know, hyphenate that all together. You're the type of person that has a case on your phone and a Tim Hortons. That's a really poor example, but I'm just not, I wasn't being inspired. But you can create those. You can, you know, describe Omar as a black parka guy. Black parka wearing guy, if you like. Okay, what else do we have in here, Ari?
There should be apostrophes before America. America will march along that skyline. Are they called apostrophes?
They are called quotation marks, but we already have them, yes.
Into is it supposed to be one word?
Into is supposed to be one word. So remember, the way that we show that is to put a little swoop underneath tying them together. Not a hyphen, which means, as we've seen, something else. Gavinator? Tapping out? You're talkative today. What else, Jerry? Mount Rushmore is here, yeah, needs an apostrophe. There is only one Mount Rushmore. The stone hills belong to it. That's a possessive. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And one more, anybody?
There should be a comma after Lincoln in the last paragraph, or the last.
In the last sentence, yeah, there should be a comma after Lincoln. And the reason for that is that we have a pair of commas before and after his name to identify that as almost parenthetical, right? It's almost like it's in parentheses. The work was completed by his son on October 31st. What his son's name is incidental. It's extra information. We can take it out without impacting the meaning of the sentence. And that is our 10. Anything else in there that troubles you? All right. And I'm going to erase this, and I will start a new video